Welcome to History of 40K, a 40K Lorecast series with John Barsotti, Brad Chester,
this guy,
and Alan.
Hello.
All right. On today's episode, we're continuing our coverage of 6th edition with more of a focus on the rule changes that came from 5th to 6th and helped set up everyone's favorite edition, 7th. For those who don't know, History of 40K is a once-a-fortnight show focusing on the history of the game of 40K, focused primarily on the tabletop, but also movies, some we'll call it infamous events, and more. Releasing Wednesday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube and podcasting platforms. Please do us a favor, like and subscribe to the show. And if you like the show and enjoy it, leave a comment. That's always fun. There's also a link to the show notes to our Patreon if you want to help us out. $4.99 a month gets you to you ad-free. That's the thing.
You know what the best thing about this edition was?
What?
Alan swam across an entire lake in Sweden at the beginning of the 6th edition. It's a real story. We all took a rowboat. We were going to the archipelago. We were going to Henrik's family's place, and everybody was taking their luggage and put it in this rowboat, and he was rowing us across. And Alan jumped into the lake and started swimming. And it was a long enough swim where we lost him, and we're like, I guess Alan died. But no, he was Aquaman. He held his breath for like 17 hours or something and swam across a lake. That was the beginning of 6.
No, well, I was in good
Why?
shape. I was in good shape back then. I wasn't a dad or anything.
I assume so. I mean, I'm more impressed with Brad. What's the length of lake you could swim?
I mean, as a pool, I sink. I sink like I'm a stone.
Yeah.
That's a real thing I've done before, by the way. I won many a bet where they're like, if you just take a huge breath in and just, spread out, you'll float no matter what. And I'm like, to the bottom of the pool. Like, no.
That tracks. All right, let's get back into it. Quick reminder, everybody. 6th edition is an interesting edition. It was launched in June of 2012. And actually is to date the shortest of all editions. It barely lasted 2 years. But in those 2 years, it was hot and heavy. 13 codexes, 6 supplements. I can't even keep track of the amount of index books, expansions to Apocalypse, Kill Team, and a ton more. It was an awesome time for lore, but it wasn't the best time for tabletop balance. Not to mention Forge World also was releasing a lot of it.
I want to cannonball in because Alan's going to know about this. Because I looked into, last time we talked, we ended with talking about some fortifications, a GS defense line with the gun and stuff. But what we didn't talk about, because it didn't last that long because it got banned after a little while, was the Fortress of Redemption. The Fortress of Redemption was so big. It was huge. And in the original rules, you could move other terrain to make your Fortress of Redemption fit. So if you had a shooting army, you would put 1 million guys in and on your Fortress of Redemption, and you would deploy your Fortress of Redemption in a way that just moved the terrain the hell out of the way. So you would just make this huge firing field that's just a kill box, and it had 1 million different things on it. But the biggest thing is it was just gigantic. It's so big. It eventually was just like, you can't bring it because it was too big. But the original rules for terrain was you would move other terrain so you could put your fortification out. And people would use that and just be like, here's my 25-inch long piece of terrain or fortification. Dump all the terrain the hell out of the way. It was a real
also
thing.
Weirdly shaped.
Oh yeah, it's awkward. That's what I'm saying. You could manipulate that to make it super awkward for people. And then they originally let you do it, and the TOs would try to tell you about how you could actually do it, and then they just went no, and they just banned that fortification in most tournaments.
Before we get into some of the rule things, I actually do want to touch on that again because I think it's one of the most important parts of this edition. So in this edition, for people who are playing the game now, the TOs up until I think maybe 8th, 9th edition, the TOs had a lot more say in what was going to happen.
No. They had all of the say.
All of the say.
They always technically do. To be fair,
no,
the TO can do whatever they want.
But they don't anymore, though. No.
Exactly.
We're talking like you're playing a different game depending on where you're playing, man. Like today, you're still
And
playing.
so-
They can make a goof rule here and there, but not really. Now, back then, you could be playing a different game of 40K depending on what was let in, what the rulings were, what was allowed. It was crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll get into that in the seventh,
that's-
man. We got entire books of psychic powers that weren't allowed, but continue. We're still in 6.
It'll be a very fun episode in the 7th where we just go through all the things that were not playable.
Geomancy.
But let's talk about first thing that we didn't talk about last time, characters. So we've always had characters in the game. They've been around forever, but in 6th edition, they got a glow up, a pretty serious glow up because we got a lot of rules protecting them. We got rules allowing them to do a very stupid fight phase and also aura abilities. So,
well, one of the big things about them is well, let's talk about protecting them. Look Out Sir was crazy. I could just grab Timmy. you just go, hey, I'm dual wielding Tim and Ted and putting them in the way if somebody actually got hurt.
Yeah. So for people who don't know this, is as my character, if you go to shoot my character, I could then, I think it's after I fail the wound, correct? I then would roll a save to see if one of the people in my unit jumps in front of the bullet.
And let's go back because you were pulling casualties based on who was the closest.
Right.
So it was within 6 inches too. You had like 6 inches of the character.
Yeah, it was so huge.
So here's my question on that. That sucked, obviously, and no one liked it. Then why did they let shield drones do that in 8th edition?
Because GW hates sunshine and puppies.
Also, shield drones are very expensive and it requires you to buy a lot of boxes.
So many boxes.
There we go. That's right.
Shield drones weren't
This is before
coming
the 3D printer days. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I know that because I used to make silicone molds, and I can like actually cast 15 shield drones in one mold. It was awesome.
How many shield drones do you own, you think?
Me?
Yeah.
400?
It doesn't matter what you asked.
They're like in a zip.
The answer would have been, I have that many. You know what? Screw that. I'm doing this cast. One of the times I went over to Alan's and he has a bunch of stuff that's way over my head. No, I refuse because this is a good story. And it was in 6th edition again. So screw this. It is time appropriate. I came over and Alan, we were trying to mimic some armies we were going to face at Adepticon. And I said, Alan, do you have a Bane Blade? And I don't look over my head very much, which is every piece of Alan's house. And he had 2 shelves that I've never even looked at. And they were just full of super heavy tanks. All of like 2 full, like when I say shelf, I mean shelves that go around. I'm like, why do you have these? This is just in case.
Yeah, I mean, the Fire Raptors also came out in 6th edition. And I got a few of those. I'm actually known. Actually, John, you might not know this. I went to ATC and I made an entire team of 5 players all run 4 Fire Raptors.
How'd that work out?
All 5. We went with 20 Fire Raptors.
Oh,
it worked out great for me. I tabled everyone.
Aerial formations, by the way.
Yeah, I made one guy quit 40K. Like he literally said, "This is the worst game ever made. I'm not playing anymore." And he dropped.
That is true. A dude literally left a team. Didn't just leave a tournament. Left a team tournament. Just
he
went
left
away.
A team tournament, sold the army he came with, and just went was gone. Like got in his car, went back to Georgia or something. He was playing AdMech or something. I can't remember what he was playing, but he had like a horde army, and this was Skies of Death allowed you to put the Fire Raptors in like a square. And when you put them in a square, they all in a time where there was no re-rolling, they could all re-roll
everything.
And they also got 4+ invulnerable saves. And at this point,
and they got an extra turn.
You needed 6s to hit them.
No.
Yeah, they're flyers.
No. They had an extra turn, Brad.
Yeah, he had a.
What turn? What turn are you talking about? They come out on turn 2.
No. Turn. The turn. The flyer turn.
Yeah. Like the Eldar planes.
No, they could pivot. They could pivot, fly,
because of the formation they were in.
Yeah, they could pivot, fly, and pivot.
So you couldn't. So basically, they just went wherever they wanted.
Yeah, but I mean, I was good. I was good enough as a player that really didn't matter.
Dude, it was so awesome. All you heard.
We didn't need the extra.
Alan's unbelievably loud voice was just yelling throughout the crowd. I mean, it's a huge tournament. There's 400 or 500 people here. And you could just hear Alan going, "Why are you guys so dumb?" Because everyone was losing all of their games. Alan's tabling everyone.
All of my teammates were losing, dude. They couldn't win their games. And I'm just like, I can't fathom it. And what really made me mad is I have to give this guy credit, right? He might not like me very much, but I'll throw out Justin Curtis's name because he said, like, on the way there was a petition to stop us from being able to play. Because, like, the really good players were like, this is ridiculous that you guys accepted Skies of Death. Like,
it wasn't something allowed, by the way. Like, it just came out, and I asked, and they said, yes, it is allowed. And I was like, great, thank you. And it was never going to be allowed ever again.
Then I made 20 Fire Raptors. Yeah. You lost the Chinook Warcoptas. That wasn't allowed ever again either. So let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
But anyways, long story short, Curtis tells his team, like, don't worry, Alan's going to smash whoever he plays. It's going to be a 0 game for anyone he touches. And then the rest of his team is not going to have any clue how to fly planes. and I thought that's a crazy take, right? Like a child monkey could figure out how to, you play with flyers, but apparently my team, couldn't figure out how to move their flyers around the table. I was like, what's going on with you guys, man? So
that was the 6th edition thing. The Flyers, remember, Flyers just came out end of 5th. Flyers got to introduce, and then in 6th edition we got Flyers, and then we got Skies of Death, which basically made flyer formations, and that instantly got killed by 95% of all tournaments because you're just like, hey, you can't interact with me at all, and I get I actually think it was 120 shots for 3 planes. And
it was a lot, yeah.
Fully rerollable.
I forgave everyone, John, because I was so deep in the flyer game that I made everyone take more flyers. So the lists were like 4 Fire Raptors and then 3 Helldrakes for the Chaos player. And it was like 4 Fire Raptors and 3 Hemlocks of Eldar for the Eldar Space Marine ally army. And then there was like a Dark Angels version that had 3 Dark Angels planes and 4 Fire
let's
Raptors.
talk about the other thing, though.
So like
we still had boots in the ground. Boots in the ground said if you didn't have a model legitimately on the ground, the game was over. You auto lost. It didn't matter if you had.
And my team loved making that rule easy for people, I guess. I don't really know what happened.
They just ran a guy out in character and just were like, hey, guys.
It is the only time I left the tournament early, too, because we quit after day 1. We didn't come back because we just...
sold them all.
No, we played fourth. We played 4 rounds. So we came back the second day. We were like, we had 1 win and 2 losses day 1, which is unheard of for like kamikazes at that time. And all my guys lost. And I was like, whatever, guys, it's cool. We'll come back the next day. You guys all got it now. You guys got it through. Like, we're not going to win, but we'll at least have fun. And then everyone loses day 2, top round again. And I like 0 whoever I play. Like, I could have fought 2 players and I would have won with my army. Like, literally, I could have played against 4,000 points and I would have crushed everything. And they all lose. And I'm like, guys, do you guys want to just go? And everyone on the team's like, yeah, let's just go. Let's just go home. Let's get dinner. I'm like, yeah, no problem, guys. And then I just start selling the Fire Raptors. And I sold
like
all
he
the
looked
money.
like a dude with fake watches with a jacket.
Yeah.
And he was just like slinging them out. Also, I don't even understand how he was selling them because like the 2 of us would walk up and Alan would give each of us a different price while we were both standing next to each other. Like, it was just, I don't even know what's going on.
I gave a price of how much I like you. The more I like you, the cheaper the price is.
It was so funny. You're just watching people go,
sense, right?
I paid $100 for this. And next guy's like,
I have to give Alan a lot of credit here. So Alan basically went to a tournament, showed everyone that airplanes are the greatest thing ever, got them to buy his airplanes from him just in time for every tournament to say no more.
100%. I don't think they were ever used again.
Yeah, most tournaments banned, I think, in 6, most tournaments started banning the Forge World stuff for sure. Because there was a lot of Forge World stuff. So it wasn't just the flyers. Like Tau had some busted stuff too.
Well, this is the edition where Forge World, I think, started to take off and become a problem.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I've always admitted the biggest problem with
Scath
Forge World
Wraith
is that
Knight.
if you want to charge me $300 for a Dreadnought, and I can buy a Dreadnought for like $40, a normal Dreadnought, not $300 Dreadnought had better be amazing. So they did. They were like, look, we're going to give you the best rules ever for this Dreadnought. And then the problem is, it sucks to play against that dread.
No, but let's also back up a little bit because of the fact this is the rules of the time were so crazy. No one's used to this that's played in 10th, 9th, and even 8th, because Forge World and GW are just the same thing. Forge World was a different, completely separate deal at the time. So like they made their own rules. Then there was the regular GW guys that were making the base.
I'll be
rules.
honest. 8th edition, you still had some Forge rules.
Yeah, you still had that. Yes.
It was
that was
9th
it.
edition where it just went. It was fine.
No, they're just
fine.
together now.
Well, I think actually the 7th is the worst because that's when D came.
Yeah.
Yes, it's 100% the worst. But I'm just saying this is when Forge World was like, we want to boost our sales, and you'd go every third page there was piece of trash. Oh my God, that's so broken, and it cost a nickel. And it was always like
there was also the All Flyer Guard army. So there was an Elysian army that had like Elysian soldiers
that dropped out halfway across.
Yeah. I mean, Nick Rose's Elysian Deadpool army is like one of my favorite armies of all time. I think someone key commissioned that, but that was a great army. And then there was also like what was the Sicarian? Sicarian battle tanks. That was big.
Battle tanks. All the Sicarians.
That was really big.
You had all
Brass
the
Scorpion
indirect
corn.
The whirlwind, the brass scorpion. You had remember this is where
What's the drop pod?
Deathcore,
the Chaos drop pod.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah, there. I'm like, I knew Alan.
It's right there.
Hey, if you mark it, you can't put in someone that doesn't have that mark. By the way.
Oh, dude, what a terrible mistake I made, man! I would have won the whole thing, dude. I don't even want to talk about that on air. I'll say inappropriate, like way inappropriate things. But yeah, the big drop pod is amazing. So much fun. It snipes. It can hit anything within 6 of it. It didn't have a base, so like
you could walk the legs over people.
Yeah, you could walk the legs over people. Yeah,
because you weren't considered in engagement range unless you were actually like physically next to a leg. Yeah. So you could
have a lot of. Let's get back on track a little bit here and get back to characters. I don't know how we got here, but I don't care. It's just fun as hell. So characters. So this edition, we start giving characters, and characters get a couple pieces. So we just talked about Lookout Sir, where I could take a dude and shove him in front of me.
Yeah,
cool. The bigger one to me though is challenges.
Challenges are huge.
This is. I think it's one of these ideas that's both a great idea and a terrible idea at the exact same time.
I like the idea. It's pretty cool though, thematically. So because there's a lot of things that happen with it.
Yes.
So you and I both have a unit which has a character in it. Okay. I have a beat stick character. I challenge you. You don't have to accept the challenge. However, if you didn't accept the challenge, it wasn't just that you couldn't fight. All of your abilities also turned off. Like if you were giving the unit rerolls, fearless, whatever, none of those were in effect if you dump the challenge because you hid from it. So no one got their bonuses. So if you had there was a lot of guard and Eldar, like people that weren't that tough, but they were giving, especially at this point in time, a lot of people gave fearless or auto pass and things of that nature. And or it gave them an ability. If you didn't fight the challenge, all of your abilities stopped working. So that unit went from this super durable or fearless unit or whatever into random guys. So you had to make burial decisions on that. Am I getting my character killed, or is the unit about to get smoke showed?
Yeah. But then they added a complication to it, which is the part I find hilarious, which is glorious intervention.
You can have another character fight.
Where you try to fight my character, and then I have another character that tries to fight your character. So this is where this thing gets complicated.
It gets so. You also had to be in engagement range to be pulled into the challenge, but which I goofed up and why I lost one of the Adepticons. But we won't talk about that. But the thing is with Glorious that you could do. It wasn't just another character, like an independent character. It was Sergeant Ted. You would just be like, hey, man, remember the time? You're like, Abaddon has thrown down the gauntlet and we're going to fight this epic duel. And you're like, I agree to your challenge and I send Ted. I nominate Ted as tribute.
This was the problem with the game because for a small portion of the game, I remember I was playing Guard, or even when I was playing Orcs, I moved to like a more of an MSU approach, and I would always have a aspiring sergeant or a knob or something in the squad, and I would just stop taking all war gear on them for this purpose. So you'd run into like a Carnifex army or something, and you would charge it, and you're like, I challenge a Carnifex. And now the Carnifex has two options: don't fight anyone, or just kill the sergeant. And now I keep him there for an entire turn.
And also, your wounds didn't carry over.
No.
You just sacrifice a knob and who cares?
Correct. It is a terrible
the combat legitimately was only between those two people. So like you could have, again, you'd have me versus freaking the Bellicor, and I would just be like, hey guys, what's going on? And they'd be like, Brad, why don't you go out and fight Bellicor? And Bellicor would stomp me, and the rest of the unit would be like, man, that looks terrible. Sucks to be you. Glad he didn't attack us.
GW messed this up because their intent was to make these iconic battles between these big characters. And all of the mid-table people thought that, right? But anyone who was good at the game was like, oh, I'm going to stop taking all war gear on characters, and I'm always going to have a character that I could just feed to the slaughter.
You'd have some scrub,
and you would just do that all the time. If you had a unit that could like leave and re-engage, or if you had a unit that the rest of the squad hit really hard, and you're killing them, like it's a challenge, and everyone else could fight other things. Like it gets really interesting because then you have all these like multi-combats.
That's what I was going to ask.
Where you can bring in a unit and like completely take them out of the equation. Like 40K is a lot about
and you physically had to take the models and set them to the side, and that's where they were being. They were still in engagement next to the unit, but they literally got picked up and set somewhere else.
And so the challenge would happen if I'm following this, because again, didn't play following this. So the challenge happens. Alan's point about the Carnifex. So my knob fights a Carnifex. Cool. The Carnifex destroys the knob.
Carnifex has 700 attacks, and nothing happens to the rest of the unit.
Right. And then the rest of the unit, if they're in engagement range with anything else, just gets to go fight that thing and not worry about the Carnifex.
Correct.
Now, I assume on the next turn, on the other player's turn, the Carnifex wrecks shop on those boys, but it didn't get to move. So it was stuck in that position.
Or better, you're missing so many things here, John. You had to set them to the side. So I get the smoke show your unit. You do a couple casualties for me. You kill my character. I pull the two other guys that you could consolidate into. I'm no longer in engagement with you. You can go pound sand. I run and go kill the rest of your army. Your big thing is standing there going, so you would fight me.
Yeah, so you would only do that on your turn. Or on their turn.
Their turn.
You would only do that on their turn. And then on your turn, if you charge something, you would do it
Carnifex charges me. I then do a challenge because the Carnifex charged me. Then my knob, I sacrifice my knob to the Carnifex, and then pull engagement range. And then next turn, my boys just go party over here where the Carnifex is just hanging out.
The Carnifex in the face with something else. Yeah,
dirty.
Yeah, but you have to line it up appropriately. So it's tricky. That's tricky sometimes, though.
This edition had, again, the skill cap in 6 was wild. The shenanigans.
I would never even think to do that.
You also have to make sure that like you don't position the knob in a way where he could be the closest model for shooting, because you don't want someone to take him out that way. And you're also looking for that as a player. So as the aggressing player, you're looking for angles in which I can snipe out that character that's going to tank, so that I can get the advantage, right? Because like two good players knowing that, like when you kill the character and then you engage, they're like, all right, you got this. So I'll move my models. Like it's done, like we don't even talk about it.
Yeah. But there was so many ways that you can manipulate. There's manipulations now, but they're like by the letter, kind of as raw. Right then, you could do so much nonsense manipulation.
Yeah, and I noticed that in looking at the rules. The rules I understand exactly as a mid-tier player. If I were writing rules, I would write a lot of the 6th edition rules. It makes sense. Hey, we're going to have a cool thing where two characters are going to fight each other. You know what? We're going to make shooting easier, where you just pull the model that's closest to you. All this stuff makes sense if you don't think at a higher level of the competitive level. But as soon as you go to that level, it becomes so manipulatable that it's devastating. To your point, all right, if I have a fast unit, I can run around behind you, so your character is now the closest unit, and now it's dead. Just done. And that's where it's very and
there's also we're also talking about a time when you could do all these sort of kind of things, and you didn't. I mean, this is a rule that we talked about a little bit the last time we talked. there's just no emergency disembarkation. Like if I surround your vehicle and blow it up, your guys are just dead. There's no
It was the number one way I would kill people in that edition. My favorite thing to do.
You would literally surround it with idiots and then just punch it. And it was all your guys are dead.
And they couldn't get out either. So if I surround your Rhino, they can't get out. And I just keep punching it every turn until it explodes.
Yeah, because in 6th edition,
you still get tank shock though.
Yeah, but in 6th edition, vehicles had hull points. So that was when it became like real thing. Because in 5th, if you blew up a vehicle, the unit goes inside of the wreckage of the vehicle. But in 6th, you can just hull point it to death.
Yep.
And then the wreckage stays. And the way the rule is written is like disembark your unit from like the access points of the vehicle because they have to get out. And then if those are blocked,
of course,
also, different vehicles were way cooler than other vehicles because they had multiple access points. Because remember, you still have rear and front armor. So like vehicles that had rear access, if they wanted to get people out, they would pivot. But then they're showing their shittier rear armor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's talk about hull points because this is actually probably one of the biggest changes this edition, and then we'll get into melee after that. Personally, I loved getting rid of armor rating. I think the removal of armor rating going into 8th edition, 7th edition was a trash fire anyway, but I think that's one of the best ways to make the game accessible to newer players. Having to use a protractor to figure out like what armor level I'm hitting and all this was just stupid.
Armor facing, sir.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. It was amazing. It's my favorite. It's my favorite.
No arguments. Exactly. No arguments. And then, it was a brutal part of the edition, but the addition of hull points helped move us in a good direction because it used to be you would just roll. You either got a penetrating hit or a glancing hit, and then you rolled a d6. So effectively, if you just rolled hot, you could take a Land Raider out with one shot. Just simple. Now we add in hull points. So now the bigger, tougher things actually can take it, even if the opponent gets low. They've got, you have to whittle the hull points down a little bit, making vehicles a lot tougher, which I think is great for, again, if I'm writing the rule, mid-table players for hobbies.
It was way too far. 6th edition made vehicles
they went
so
way
weak.
Too far.
Yeah, vehicles became so weak that was the birth of Death Stars. That's Screamer Star, Wolf Star, Bikers, Seer Council, Paladin Star. All those things came into existence because they went, they're just not good. GWs, I don't know if they've ever really been good at writing game, but this was really bad. Like, I don't know who did this or why. I feel like they also make a lot of money on selling the vehicles. So I was confused, but
every result gave you a hull point. So
correct,
like before when you got glancing and nothing happened, now it took hull points and you just died.
Yeah.
My Eldar vehicle used to go, you got 43 glancing hits on me. I don't care. Nothing happens to me. I have spirit stones. Now you went, I got 4 glancing hits. Cool. Your vehicle's dead.
I don't even think it was 4. I think it had like hull points was like 3 hull points or something.
The big things had 4.
Yeah. The big things had 4. Yeah. It was just tough.
You could just click them away.
When they brought the hull points in, it was
think about Necron weapons, which were glancing. Period.
Necron weapons just glanced on 6s regardless. You'd have like a warrior unit going, "Hey, Billy, Bobby, did you watch the game last? Oh, 1 sec."
Yeah.
Just insta dead.
Yeah, because I was reading that vehicles started to. This is why, flying demon princes. This is why you saw so much stuff was more infantry based because
everything went to monsters.
I don't understand why.
Riptides. Like Tau had Riptides. Eldar stayed on it because they had the Serpent shields and stuff. They had some upgrades, Brad. I forgot what they had exactly.
The Serpent shield basically made everything so that you could be, the max you could be is strength 8 against it. But you also had, again, you had Spirit Stones, you had Hollow Fields for the Falcons, so you had to roll.
So the main vehicle of 6th was a Wave Serpent. That's what it was. You just saw Wave Serpents. Yeah. They were still good.
It had fast guns, and they had Jink though, because remember anything that was moving was Jink, gave you a 4-up invuln.
Let's go through Jink. So Jink was a universal special rule where if a vehicle moved, if it had this ability,
a bike if it turboed.
Yeah, well, there's 2 levels to Jink. So regular Jink means you get a 5-up cover save, which is an effective 5-up invuln because of the way that the rules are written. But if you turboed, then you went to a 4-up invuln, meaning you now have a 50-50 save.
Yep.
Which is insanity on something like this, because the save comes after the hit and the wound. So if you give a 50-50 save to something that's super tough, I mean, we're talking, maybe you're hitting it 60% of the time. You're probably wounding it 30 or 16% of the time. And then 50% of that wound, I don't care.
Necron Flyers, you could hit them on 6s, and then they could jink. So they shook off half of the results.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
you
really hit him on a 6. Yeah, hit him on a 6, wounded him probably on a 5 or a 6. And then 50% of the time, they just didn't care.
50% of the time, works every time.
Brad, weren't hollow fields also like a +1 to save or like cover save or something? I remember that too.
I used to have 2 saves, depending.
Yeah. Yeah. So they were really good. And they were still armor 12, which is great. So if they're like damaging all your strength of all your weapons and they're armor 12, it's really hard to get the hull points on them. But,
so what vehicles were
Necron still messed them up?
Flyers.
We covered
Flyers of all kinds were good.
Flyers makes sense. I mean, Flyers makes sense because
Storm Ravens
are by default because they're
Necron
minus
Flyers,
hitting me on 6s.
Yeah, all that.
Well, what on the table? Was there any vehicle on the table that was actually good on the ground?
Serpent.
Because the Flyers make sense because of the 6s.
Wave Serpent,
Custom Forge World Stompa.
Okay. Yeah, true story.
Well, that thing's adorable. The Custom Forge World Stompa is one of the funniest. I will say GW doesn't always write rules well, but they always write rules well.
Good. Yeah, they write
Orc rules are always good. I mean,
it
may suck for the opponent, but when you read it, you're like, this is at least entertaining.
You still saw transports.
Whoever at GW wrote the belly gun, that guy.
That belly gun was
get that guy
brutal.
a bonus. Get that guy a bonus.
I mean, how many armies just fell to the belly gun over the years?
That is
I know at least one fell because I watched it happen.
No. That's the Psychodeca Blasta, Brad. The belly gun is different.
My bad.
You're good. Do you actually know what the belly gun is? You can only Brad.
Yeah.
Brad, you can only fire the belly gun every other turn. Can't be fired the first turn. You don't have to. You don't have to pick a unit. You don't have to pick a target. You pick a point on the board, and then you roll 5d6, and that's the radius of the blast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so dumb.
This gun was amazing. Like I want to pull it out for this because this thing needs to come back. This was a magnificent rule that broke a lot of people.
I think it's the second best orc weapon ever made.
Bubble Chaka?
Lift-a-Droppa. The Lift-a-Droppa
was so dumb.
Lift-a-Droppa is by far the best orc vehicle, and it was in 6 too, by the way. There was a battle wagon in 6 with the Lift-a-Droppa.
Nobody knew what it did.
I don't know if you ever heard of this. I played 3 of them, John.
I don't.
I still have it, actually. So
you could put them on little things.
No. It can only go on a battle wagon or a Stompa. You could take it on Stompa or a battle wagon.
Okay.
So what it did is you could choose any vehicle within 12 inches. Okay. And it's orcs. Remember orcs. It's like, how good could a shooting weapon be with orcs? This one auto hit. So you pick a vehicle in 24.
No, not on orcs. No.
Auto hits. Then you pick up a scatter dice. You roll the scatter. Then you can move the vehicle in any direction of any distance up to 24 inches on that scatter, and you drop it down. If you drop it on another vehicle or unit, they take 2d6 like strength 9 hits automatically. Also, by the way, remember I said hits. You don't roll a hit. And then the vehicle itself takes like a bunch of hull point damage, and possibly dies. So it was the greatest weapon of all time in orcs. Auto hits lets you move your opponent's models and hit other models. It's tied. Okay, it's tied with the best psychic power.
How about regular stuff though? The tractor cannon it came out in this edition because it auto slam flyers down on the ground.
I love the tractor cannon too. They're great.
No, the tractor cannons.
But the
these two are hilarious.
The Lift-a-Droppa is the best. It's the best. It's amazing.
Also,
how many people did you have to explain the rules of Lift-a-Droppa?
Every single person I ever played.
Nobody believed it.
And they look back at you.
I literally handed the book.
It looked like you're like, no.
Yeah. I also printed it. I also printed out a piece of paper and gave them the paper for the game too. I used to have it on paper.
Yeah, because the rules were such bullshit. You're like, there's no way that's real.
Well, I was running that, and I was running
souvenir.
I was also running like the 450 point Stompa that had the claws that threw your tank after it fought it. So when you assault a vehicle with that Stompa, After you're done, if it survives, you get to throw it. So it does the same thing as the lift a droppa. So you can lift a droppa something towards the tank, charge it, fight it, and throw it again.
And then throw it when it blows up.
You also throw it when it blows up, I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
It's been a while, but I have that book somewhere still.
That was one of the results, yeah.
Yeah. And that Stumpa was 450 points. It moved 12, ran 12, and still could charge.
True story.
Oh, yeah. It was amazing.
24 inches of movement in an era where there was no terrain to stop it.
And it looked
and
like
then would charge you.
And it looked like the big thing in like what's the show you go to where all the cars break down? Like Total Mayhem or whatever? Monster Truck Madness? Yeah. It looked like a giant monster truck, like killer. Like
Sunday.
Yeah. So it was really cool.
Oh God.
But yeah,
there
wasn't any vehicles, man. It wasn't a vehicle.
We're going to do a whole episode on
hold on. To answer the question, the original question, there were transports because people would use them for one turn.
Oh, no. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Brad's right. Cheap vehicles were taken. Like that, they were awesome, actually. Yeah, all the cheap vehicles were taken.
Because you would pop smokes,
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, cheap vehicles and flyers. That's pretty much it.
Because you had one turn to use them because you'd pop smoke and you'd get your 4-up info.
Oh, and Annihilation barges were really popular in Necrons. Annihilation barges were actually very popular. I know that's
because they were skimmer,
but they were really popular.
But how about walkers? Was this an edition for dreadnoughts?
No.
Yeah. All right.
No, and dreadnoughts didn't get a resurgence for a long time. Actually, they were amazing in like 3rd and 4th, and then they haven't really came back. They don't come back in 7th either. I think they have a resurgence.
It's not until 8th. It was 8th because
they got the big dreadnoughts.
Yeah, and the chaplain dreadnoughts.
The last thing I want to jump into is actually because a lot of the complaints about 6th edition, because the beauty of like things like Reddit and Deca is you can still read what people wrote 12 years ago, 13 years ago.
Yeah,
I don't know what you heard
it's
about
great.
me.
It's a lot of stuff about Brad.
And so there's a lot of, the number one complaint I kept seeing was melee, melee was really hard in 6th edition. And I want to get your guys' take on this because I can't tell if this is something where it actually was hard or players weren't adapting to the new world. So the complaint was around, first off, that now, used to be a 6-inch auto charge. Now it's rollable. So, and a 6-inch charge in 2d6
that was people
only
just
75%.
No, that's people being bad. But like
Overwatch, though.
Overwatch was the problem because there was people that could do like, especially like Tau and stuff. For the greater good, like every time you Overwatched, you'd get another unit to Overwatch with you. So you could actually do some damage with Overwatch.
Well,
you did it for free. So every single time you charge something, the unit got to Overwatch you for nothing. That's just what you did.
So, that's how it was until 10th or 9th.
Yeah, and Flamers had a huge resurgence for Overwatch as well.
That's what I was about to ask. The issue with Overwatch when I came back in the game in 8th was always you hit on 6s, even with rerolls, it's not a ton of hits. But auto hitting weapons were a huge issue. So if you have things like, what's the land? Is it the Redeemer? What's the Land Raider with the
Flamers?
Yeah, the Redeemer with the Flamers.
You also had,
and there was also Twin Link. Twin Link was everywhere in this edition. Everything had Twin Link. Twin Link was all over the place.
Yeah, it was crazy.
You also had Grav,
and so
like late 6th.
Well, remember you also had
Tau had
weapon
marker lights.
No, because they could hit on. There was multiple people that could Overwatch you on either a 5 or a 4 with rerolls.
Did Tesla auto wound on 6s to hit in this edition?
No, it just gave you the extras.
No? Oh, it just gave you extras.
Two extra hits.
Yeah, so it may hit more.
So in this, again, I'm coming from more modern. More modern, the way you would get around that is you charge from cover.
Same thing.
And especially.
But you just had less terrain in this edition.
That's what I was going to ask you.
There was
way less terrain.
Way less terrain.
No, we didn't have anything today's terrain scene is insane. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, melee armies do great today.
The whole table.
That's what I was wondering.
Obscuring terrain.
You also had a lot of people with like really badass flamers in this edition. There was a ton of people with high like strength and or AP flamers.
And we just explained challenges, right? So like you can relate that would hurt combat, right? Like. Without challenges, you get like a big thing in a combat squad. The combat's over. You kill everything. Now I just soak it. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, so that was leading my question. It's this complaint. I mean, I saw a lot of these complaints about Melee just not being as fun as 6th edition. I mean, the part, by the way, I did like is how many people kept writing. I'm really hopeful for 7th edition making everything better. Like the amount of people who wrote that on forums back in like 12 years ago. Ooh,
Also,
well, I have some bad news for you.
Also, 6th edition, you couldn't run in charge. They took that out from the game pretty much. I think entirely.
Yeah.
Actually.
There's a few. I think there were a couple units. I think Banshees might have been able to. There's a couple random things that sound like could advance in charge.
I'm not about it.
Banshees would usually. Banshees most of the time would webway because they got +3 to their charge.
Yeah, I think there was like pluses maybe, but you couldn't. I don't think you could run in charge in this edition at all. I think it was very little.
Okay.
You also couldn't charge from reserves. This was like a no reserve charge.
Yeah, that was the thing too. Yeah, that was the two complaints. You couldn't charge from reserve, and also you couldn't charge out of a vehicle. So you had it's like modern 40K. You have to get out of the vehicle, move, and then charge. I couldn't move the vehicle, deploy, and charge. Which, by the way, is a stupid ability.
Dude, come on, guys. This is so easy. Power weapons went away.
There it is.
AP is introduced in 6th edition. That's massive.
Yeah,
because in 5th edition,
you
have a power weapon, you just die. Like
Yeah.
So
lightning claws just killed everyone.
Yeah, and there was so much of that in combat in 5th, and then in 6th, shooting became brutal, and combat became like AP. So I think like if you had a power fist, like instead of the guy just dying, now you're like AP2 or something. And the guy just doesn't die now. He gets like a 5 or 6 up, and you just kill less. You kill a third less.
Or he has an invuln. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, if he had an invuln before, he would.
Well, invuln, you're right. Power.
Yeah,
You're right. Yeah. But yeah, so that was the other one too. So that leads me to my question. Because
another thing is huge too. Sorry to interrupt you, John. But initiative 1, big things struck at initiative 1, Brad. Yeah. So if you had a big thing, like if you had a power fist, you strike last. Like there was a lot of striking last with good stuff.
I would say Power Fist, Thunderhammers.
That too.
Most of the big creatures also had shit initiative on that too. Carnifexes were initiative 1 unless you took an upgrade.
Yeah. And then like this was also
that's because the what's it called, the
crushing
web
claws.
Spinners. Yeah,
Web spinners.
well, the initiative one was really good for warp spiders.
Yeah, you wanted them on a 2.
Yeah. I'm just gonna kill all of these things now.
This is also the addition of Death Stars and like unkillable stuff. So there was a lot of Storm Shield Thunderhammers, 2+ invols, 2+ invols with rerolls.
I was gonna say 2+ invols with rerolls.
2+, 4++.
This was the addition of it continued into 7 of 2-up rerollable invulnerable saves.
Yeah.
And
psychic buffs, rerolling saves, rerolling invulnerable.
Well, remember, you could also you had the rules where you could actually move after you could do all your psychics, and then your unit would just move after it was done.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, do you remember what smash attacks were? Was that when a monstrous creature charged?
No, smash attacks were the templates. Those are stomps.
Oh, stomps. This was.
You're talking right? Stomps or smash?
No, smash. Wasn't there
smash?
Like a
smash is you could smash attack was you could trade all of your attacks in for one attack that was strength 10.
Okay.
So you're looking to insta kill people.
So not good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there was a lot of reasons why vehicles sucked and close combat sucked.
So building an army in this edition was going to be primarily infantry based. It sounds like, or flyers.
It was flying
monstrous creatures.
Could you combine all 3? So what you wanted, that's why Brad already hit it, but why was it that, right? So the question is, why is it that? Why is it not flying planes? Or why isn't it like a bunch of skimmers? Or why isn't it, something else? So what you wanted to do is you wanted to combine flying with good shooting, right? Or high resilience, one or the other. Either you shoot really well and you remove your opponent, or you live, or both. And psychics, you wanted to cast things like iron arm,
many dice,
and endurance, and warp speed, and forewarning, and prescience, or whatever it's called, prescience, and invisibility. Yep. Like you want to have the ability to cast all that stuff. In addition to casting all that stuff, be hard to kill or really good at shooting, or both. And you wanted to bring in flying. So like,
all right,
6 demon princes with wings just sounds amazing. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yep.
They do it all. Take a Fate Weaver and like 4 Demon Princes. You're good.
So the last thing I want to cover then, because in 2 weeks we're going to dive into 7th.
We're going to dive into the pool.
7th.
We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th. We're going to dive into the pool. 7th.
Yeah.
It's gonna be incredible. Before we do, the last thing I want to talk about is the ITC, because I think that's one of the most important parts of 7th, and is the only reason 7th actually didn't end the game.
Well, we'll talk about it in 7th, because the ITC started,
The
and
ITC
it's
started.
going. The ITC started now. The ITC is going. At the end of 6th, beginning of 7th, the game doesn't exist unless the ITC is there.
That's why I wanted to take a moment to talk about the ITC as kind of the teaser in next week, because they are going to be critical as we get in 2 weeks from now.
Well,
So
they make up their own rules. You play on their rules.
yeah,
But I think it starts in 7th though. I think 7th comes out, everyone freaks out, and then the ITC starts, I believe.
no, the ITC was in 6th. 80%. The ITC was around in 6th edition.
It was around. It's just they took over at the end of 6th, beginning of 7th. They just were the tournament scene.
But the reason I want to bring up ITC is because you need to have this, is that we're getting to this end of this edition. And like I said earlier, we're talking like 20 something books. I mean, we're getting more than a book a month over the course of this edition.
They're also,
if you look at
bananas broken. But it's not just that they're bananas broken. They're bananas broken. There's no erratas. There's no FAQs.
Yeah.
They're just firing these bad boys out of t-shirt guns and just going, hey man, these rules are mess. They're like, good to hear. Get out of here, chump.
Yeah. I mean, next month, another army is getting a book, and that book's going to either be hot garbage and totally useless, or insane. Everyone duck for cover. This
is the very beginning of like really meta chasing, because the shit coming out between the middle of 6th to the end of 7th, if you weren't playing the new stuff, you were playing another game.
I wasn't playing the new stuff.
You were playing the new stuff.
I was being the new stuff.
I was the new stuff.
Yes, sure.
Alan was single-handedly breaking the game.
Bananas with all the
this was an edition where everyone was trying to come up with like their own stamp on a list. We used to like call lists by people's names, like so-and-so's list and so-and-so's list, because the internet wasn't like, first of all, people were not making companies to like help anyone. There wasn't any of that stuff going on. Everything was very secret. You would just
keep it secret, keep it safe.
And your army would get posted on the internet, but it wouldn't get posted because it was in BCP. It would get posted because someone like came and took a picture of your list and like put it on paper.
By the way, that was on paper.
It was on paper.
It was a piece of paper. Yeah. And that's what I wanted to talk about at this point here. Is it's like this is where the edition starts to fall apart as we're getting to the end of 6, because as we said earlier, the skill gap between good players and just mid-tier players is a gulf, like Mariana's chasm level gulf.
It's insanity.
Exactly. This is
there's
insane.
Both. There's like skill level chasm, and there's accessibility to models in this time was massive.
Also is coming up. And so what happens is the tournament organizers, the TOs, have to do something, because you've got this huge gulf occurring, and they begin kind of taking it in their own hands to start making their own new rules, not banning stuff, which they'd done for a while. I mean, hell, even in, was it 3rd edition, where it was like you had to get your opponent's permission to play with Eldrad. Like, this has been around for a while, but once you get to 6th edition, you had tournaments saying, yeah, no, that model's not even allowed in this thing. That formation's not allowed. But then they start actually going a bit further and changing rules. This is where I think as we get into 7th becomes critical, where they start saying, yeah, I know the book you bought has a data sheet in it that says the following. It doesn't say that anymore.
Dude, we start to get,
not in this tournament.
You start to get deploy and go first. You deployed your whole army according to ITC rules, and then you went first. It was banana. You rolled. Alan and I roll. I win the roll. I go, cool. I deploy my entire army, and I go first. That's why being able to seize the initiative was so wild nuts, because Alan would then put his army out after I put my army out. And if he rolled a 6, he got to go first and put all of his shit specifically to counter my stuff.
Yeah. That's what happened.
I don't miss seize the initiative. All right. But I think that's kind of like a good lead in, because in the fortnight, we're going to get into something that for those of you who don't know, I mean, the irony is Brad and I have been talking to you about the show for a while. We've had numerous people say, hey, I'd love to come on your show, but I'm not talking about 7th edition. At least 15 people have said to us, I'm not even speaking about 7th edition. So yeah,
PTSD,
this edition is going to get dirty. The irony of it, by the way, is that this edition actually coincided with some of the biggest video game launches. I mean, it was actually doing really well outside of the tabletop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, also some of the best, I think, codexes came out in 7th edition. Some of the best lore came out in 7th edition. 7th edition was hot from a really cool stuff to read.
The Horus Heresy got
Yunari.
really cool.
Oh, the Gathering Storm,
Yunari.
dude, was so cool.
Yeah, we get a great edition for everything but playing the game.
There was nothing cool about Yunari. I hate Eldar with a passion.
Of course you do.
You own all of it, though.
I hope Yunari can go in a grave. You know what I might make? I might make a video of me burning it all, Brad.
They've had, you know what? You make me so mad. He tells me all the time, I'm like, man, I really like to get this. And Alan's like, I'm going to throw this army away that you specifically asked for.
Yeah. Oh God, 7th edition Yunari. All right. So with that, John Barsotti, Brad Chester,
this guy,
Alan.
Hey.
All right. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Sorry in advance for the PTSD.